In this final lecture, we'll look at some of the options Tableau offers once you're ready to publish your dashboards. We'll consider the pros and cons of each of the publishing methods, and we'll talk a bit about different scenarios that might call for different methods. So the first option we'll have a look at is publishing dashboards via Tableau Reader. So we spoke about Tableau Reader before, and we mentioned that it's a product published by Tableau that can be used by users to have a look at packaged workbooks. Now, in some respects, this isn't really full-scale publishing, and in a nutshell, what you're effectively doing is you're just sending or sharing your Tableau workbook file directly with your audience. The audience will be able to open and interact with your dashboard using Tableau Reader. Now, one good thing about Tableau Reader that it is a free option, and it can be downloaded and installed on both PCs running Windows or on Mac machines. Now, in reality, this option may be already familiar with you, as it has much in common with portable file formats such as PDF. Now, if you decide to take this avenue, then you'll first need to create a package workbook. Now, package workbook stores all the required data as well as data visualizations within the workbook itself. To show you how that's done, we'll have a look at the executive dashboard we created in one of the previous lectures. Now, it's a fairly straightforward process of creating a package workbook. We can either save the workbook as a Tableau package workbook format, or we can just choose export package workbook option from the file menu, and by clicking that we just need to specify where we want to save it. Now you'll notice that the package workbook has a .twbx format as opposed to TWB format, which the regular workbooks use. So this indicates that both data and the visualization are stored within one file. So let's give it a name, something meaningful, sales dashboard, and we'll save it. Now, in order to view the package workbook, we'll jump into Tableau Reader, and we'll open up our package workbook file. Now, you can see in this directory we have regular workbooks, TWB, but we cannot open them. Tableau Reader obviously just allows you to open out the package one. So, sales dashboard, and we'll open it in Tableau Reader. Okay, so this is our sales dashboard opened within Tableau Reader, and you can see that we can interact with data. We also have some of the actions that were defined at the dashboard. We can use filtering, and even this visualization has a URL action defined, which will pop up another web page, which we specified earlier. So you can fully interact with the data in here, and you can actually see all the different sheets that have been published, including the dashboard itself. Now, obviously, the benefit of using Tableau Reader to share your workbooks is that, number one, it's free, and pretty much allows interacting with the dashboard. However, there's also a number of reasons why it might not be suitable to use the Tableau Reader. Number one, that the data is actually disconnected, so data is packaged with the workbook, and that means that the data is only a snapshot at the point in time when the workbook was packaged and created. So the data is not updated on a regular basis. If you need it to be updated, then you have to refresh the workbook manually, and you need to recreate and resend the package workbook. In addition, if the dataset is quite large, then the actual package workbook file becomes also large, and it may not be practical to share a file of bigger size. Now, Tableau Reader is really good for doing one-off specific data analysis, creating presentations possibly, and for proof of concept projects. The second option we'll have a look at is Tableau Public. So unlike Tableau Reader, publishing to Tableau Public is a wide-scale publishing option, which means you're effectively publishing your dashboard to Tableau servers hosting in the cloud, where anyone can view and interact with your dashboard using a web browser or mobile device. So like Tableau Reader, this option is also free. There are, however, certain limitations which you will need to be made aware of. But before we get into this, let's have a look at how to go about publishing to Tableau Public. So again, we'll use our executive dashboard sales file, and publishing to Tableau Public is fairly straightforward as well. We'll just go to the server option, Tableau Public, save to web or save to web as. And at this point, you'll be prompted to enter your Tableau Public credentials. Now, at this point, if you don't have an account, you can create one. It's fairly straightforward. All you need is a valid email address and specifying a password. Now, at this stage, we're attempting to actually publish our workbook up on the server. We're getting a prompt here saying the Tableau server cannot publish anything that is using external database connections. So for any dashboard or any workbook that you want to publish on a server, on a Tableau Public server, we need to create data extracts. So we'll do that. So what's happening now is that Tableau has actually created a Tableau extract as opposed to using a flat file source. And once we actually create an extract, we can then proceed to publish our dashboard onto the server. So we'll go back to the server and we'll publish the workbook. And we can give it a name and click on save. The data at this stage is being sent to the server, and once that's complete, we're prompted with a preview of our dashboard, and also we've given a link to the published dashboard, so we can actually copy this. We can copy it and paste it into a browser and actually go and see what it looks like. So this is our executive dashboard now being hosted up on public Tableau server. Again, all the actions are published as well. We can actually do all the filtering. You can see the charts are changing, and also the action of popping up another URL is available as well. Now, to talk about the limitations of using Tableau Public, firstly, like Tableau Reader, once you publish a Tableau Public, the data is effectively disconnected. In order to update it, we'll have to manually refresh and republish. Next, your dashboard can only contain flat file data sources such as CSV, Microsoft Excel, and so forth. Each connection has a restriction of 1 million rows, and finally you have a space restriction of 1 gigabyte. Now, this is quite generous allocation of space, and unless you're dealing with giant data sets and we'll be creating more than a handful of dashboards, these restrictions won't be too much of an issue. If they are, they're probably better off investing into one of the paid options. So the best use case scenario for Tableau Public is when you perform data analysis on a data that is static, it's not going to change, and you have a need to publish it to a large audience. So, for example, quite often Tableau Public is used by bloggers who may do a particular data analysis piece which gets displayed within their blog, or by journalists who have done, again, some ad hoc analysis which is displayed within the article, or possibly by research groups which have a need to share the results of their research with a large audience using a cheap method. So it's not really suitable for enterprise or a corporate data, anything that needs to be kept within the organization's domain, or where the data governance, security, and privacy are of importance. Now, the third option for publishing data is the Tableau Public Premium. It's a service offering by Tableau which is identical to Tableau Public, except that there are no restrictions on the file sizes and number of rows you can use in your workbooks, and you're also able to restrict viewers from downloading the underlying workbook. So there are two things to note here. Number one, that it's actually a paid service, and number two, it's still within the public domain. So this means that although the underlying dashboards and workbooks can't be downloaded, anybody on the internet can actually interact with your dashboards. So again, if we're looking at the corporate data and if the data governance, security, and so forth are important, then again, Tableau Public Premium is not really the way to go. The way to go for a situation like that is a Tableau Server, which is the last option we'll have a look at. And Tableau Server is an enterprise solution which allows users to publish their dashboards and workbooks to the in-house infrastructure. Therefore, some of the limitations we saw earlier with Tableau Public are immediately resolved. Data sizes are no longer an issue insofar as the available disk space allows. Data security is resolved as data is stored locally and can be protected from external intrusion using firewalls and other infrastructure. In addition, the actual Tableau security can be integrated with the Windows security of your organization, so you can use Active Domain to control access and so forth. And all database connections are available, and you can set up schedules so that the refresh of the data can happen at regular intervals, and it will ensure that users are always viewing the most up-to-date data. Now, however, bear in mind that all this freedom comes at a considerable cost, and Tableau Server must be installed on Windows-based server or servers, depending on your configuration. And these servers should have high-end specs with lots and lots of memory. So for instance, for medium-sized deployments, Tableau recommends at this stage an 8-core, 2 GHz CPU and 32 gigs of RAM. So it's a considerable investment you have to make into the infrastructure and licensing costs and so forth. However, on the other hand, it provides you with the most flexibility and the most enterprise level solution that's available for Tableau. And this concludes our lesson on publishing options as well as the overall course. We enjoyed having you with us, and if you have any remaining questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us either via our Twitter handle or by emailing us directly.